we'll go. So I'm Carrie. I work at, well, I own and run Wonder Pup Media, who is a small but fearless media company that helps production companies with their social media, their sound design, and other various things. Because I have a 20-odd year career in the entertainment industry in various forms. I was brought in by the lovely Sarah, who is on her way. She had another Zoom. She double booked her Zooms today, who is the co-writer of the Lockdown and series with Natalie. So segue on, Natalie, you want to introduce yourself? And then everybody that's on camera from the team will introduce themselves.
Okay, shall I throw it to the next person then? So I'm Natalie Malla, and I am the co-writer and director of Lockdown and. Where should I go next? Elroy, introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm El, and I'm also part of the Reframe Collective, and I play the role of Daryl.
Mia? Oh, you're not all in the same place as well on each other's grid, so I'm like, Mia, this one, she's not there.
So I'm Mia, I played Sarah, and I trained with Eric many moons ago, and I've been the last couple of years involved with Reframed, and we did a really cool screening night last year, which was great, and yeah, did this project with these guys.
Okay, Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm one of the founding members of Reframed, the collective of cast and crew behind this project. And I'm an actor, and I'm going to be playing Neil in the next story with Melissa.
Over to you.
I'm Melissa. I've been in Reframed for quite a few years now. And done quite a few lovely projects, and I've also worked with Natalie a few times on some lovely things. So I'm playing Elizabeth in the next part of this series.
Cool. And we do have someone from the Lockdown and Divorce cast who is not here tonight. That's Alex.
Alex, yeah.
Devrin? I can never pronounce his surname.
Lovely.
He unfortunately had other things, but he's also in Lockdown and Desperate next week, so he will be with us next week. And then from the Lockdown and Dating series, which was the series last week and which is also available on the YouTube channels, alongside the Lockdown and Divorced series, which will be available for you to binge watch both series back to back to your heart's content on the YouTube channel. We have Alex Wadham and Alexandra Yermak, who are not available this evening as well, but go and enjoy what they did last week on the YouTube channels. Not right now though. So I'm gonna open it up to our lovely audience members. Do any of you guys have any questions? If you don't wanna ask your question on camera, please feel free to type it in chat. We've got somebody watching the chat, which will nudge me so that we can get it asked and answered.
I think we should start with your questions, Karen.
Yeah, maybe. So you guys talk about Reframed. Can you guys explain who Reframed are and when you guys were founded and why you guys were founded?
Eric?
I was wondering.
I'm going to sit here and bat the question.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Reframe was founded a few years back. I don't remember exactly when. Maybe Melissa, you were there from the beginning. I don't know, maybe 5, something like that.
5 years, I think.
Yeah, 5 years, and it was at the beginning. It was literally me calling a few actor and director friends and saying, "Shall we do some stuff? Shall we film some stuff?" And to keep ourselves busy, to try things out. In terms of actors, we wanted to try some characters we haven't done before. We wanted to give the opportunity to directors to direct some stuff that they wouldn't direct normally. All Reframe members are working cast and crew, so we're not beginners. So we sort of try to push the boundaries and our own practice. That's the point of Reframed, and to try to entertain people as much as possible. So I don't know what else. Help me out, Melissa, and Roy as well.
Oh, Elle, were you going to say something?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I was going to say it's exactly that. I think the great thing about Reframed is that I suppose because as actors, right, we're not necessarily working all the time. So it's nice to actually have an outlet where we can pull ideas together. And obviously, you know, you get people that are part of lighting crew, sound recording artists, directors, writers. So whenever we're not sort of like working in legit jobs, it's nice to be creative in our own way and then come together and then produce something maybe original or ideas that we want to test out, which is why Reframe is such a great platform to actually do that.
And it's in a safe environment as well, so it just feels so lovely in a non-judgmental environment. Because the business can be a little bit challenging, so it's really lovely to have a supportive collective of people who all work together and support each other. So it's lovely.
Yeah, and we go for drinks as well sometimes.
Obviously, not during lockdown.
Yes,
no, of course. But it's it's also to so we've done a script call a couple of years ago, asking for people to send in some scripts, and we got like 500 submissions. So we do have like a bunch of scripts that we are still going through to try to find new projects. And sometimes what we like to do, I mean, what I like to do anyway, when there is a person interested in the collective, whatever they do, I always ask them, what do you want to try out? Is there something specific you want to experiment? If it's a DP, there is Jackie, for example, who shot the web series Ground Rules, which is on the YouTube channel as well, that we've done before. And she was your DP as well, Natalie, for the short film. She's a great member and a great DP. And she really wants to explore the relationship between the camera and the actor, handheld camera, and really practice that sort of very specific way of filming. So I said, we're going to try to find something for that. So sometimes we're going to try to find the projects matching whatever the person is trying to do. There's a makeup artist as well. I know she wants to try to explore, scars and everything. So as soon as we've got something like that, Natalie, can you please write a horror film next time?
Not really my bag.
No, that's fine. But yeah, that's the idea. It's like trying to, whoever wants to try things out, we try to find the project matching that.
Yeah. And I think also when I first came to Reframed, do you remember with Crush Hour, which we took a couple of scenes from that and we just tried it out with the actors. And just kind of played around with it. And then one of the other members, Mal, who isn't here, convinced us all to just kind of like jump onto a tube without permission and just film it one Sunday morning, which I probably wouldn't have done on my own. I would have gone, oh God, we should get permission. And I'm not sure if we should do it or not. Oh, it seems a bit scary. And then we made like a 7-minute short film with these three lovely actors, Melissa, Elle, and Eric, are all in it. And I don't think I would have done that without the collective, because it felt, like I was supported and they were just gonna get in there and do it.
And it's festivals as well, so it's had quite a nice. It's having a nice life.
It is.
It's been distributed. Well.
It's actually on TV in Nigeria at the moment, so
get in.
And a few other places too. I can't remember the other territories. But that one in particular. Nigeria and Sky for the UK. I don't know. I just signed the contract. I probably should have told you guys, but just trying to get your faces out there. So it's all good. Anyway, next.
So obviously with the lockdown, you guys were filming independently without a crew. I asked this question of the guys last week, how different and difficult that was to kind of wrap your head around. So Alan, Mia, how difficult was it for you to kind of get your head around of like different camera angles, thinking of sound, thinking of lighting, and all that stuff, when normally as actors you just kind of you have your directors of photography, your sound mixers and all that on set advising you on that.
Roy, do you want to answer? I
Not-
don't
not-
mind
yeah,
asking
yeah.
answer.
I didn't hear either of you because you
Oh,
were talking at the
sorry.
same time.
Oh, okay.
Like, you go.
Oh, well, it
So we'll just go Elroy first and then Mia.
Yeah, it was an interesting challenge, I suppose. I mean, I suppose as actors nowadays, anyway, we're kind of used to doing self-tapes. So I suppose it was like a little bit of a mix of doing a self-tape, but I guess kind of like being directed through it. I think what was nice was that we also had like Nat was there as well. So the way that we would set it up is that we would have Nat on Zoom, and then also I'd have like Mia on Zoom as well. And we would like try and send through the shots that we were planning to take on our cameras, which sometimes proved a bit of an aggro, because like, you know, you couldn't get exactly the right shot. So it would almost be like, okay, this is kind of like what it's gonna look like, and hopefully once we film it, it will be all right.
And then I'd just watch your elbow
Yeah,
through the whole of the shot. Do you remember when we were on the windowsill in your house, Mia, when it was facing you, the phone, also in the toilet with you, Elle? I'm pretty sure I was like watching your knee or something.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, when you were in the kitchen, and I was like, sounds great. Not sure if we got it because I can't see the screen, but it sounded great.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a big challenge. And I think as well, like, you know, at home, you're in your kind of safe space, private. And you've got the domestic stuff, animals running around and whoever you're living with and stuff. You know, at one point I think I was having a Skype call with Natalie and I was chasing 2 rabbits around the house.
Your husband runs around as well?
Yeah, well, definitely. But yeah, and then you kind of take over everything, and you know, so it's difficult. And you know, we were working as well, so we were trying to find snatches of time to film. But you know, we learnt. Well, I know I can speak for myself. I learned loads.
Definitely.
I mean, I was crap, and probably still am crap with the technical stuff, but I think I really learned a lot, and I think I'm really pleased I did that experience, because like I know how to use Filmic Pro, like should have known this anyway. But yeah, I mean, this opportunity helped me learn lots of things. Also, what doesn't work,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where to film, lighting, kind of
Yeah.
getting there.
For some reason, Mia has this amazing house and it's so full of light. And every time we'd do all the tests, she'd be walking around her house and there was just so much light everywhere. And then we'd find a really good spot to film and there was literally no light.
The light.
It was just,
Yeah.
I was like, where is it? Like, this is the door we need to use because it looks like the door in Elle's house. So this is what we're going to use. But unfortunately, there's no windows here, or like...
The doors have to look the same, because I think with ours as well, we had to look like we're in the same house, not like 2 separate houses. So it was like, oh, we can't film here because the door's different. I've got glass doors. Don't ask me why. I've got glass doors. We couldn't match anything. We're trying to make the staircase look the same. And then like Natalie wanted us to like be looking at each other in
the eyeline fiasco.
And it was like about 3 hours, I think we were trying, and then we were like,
and then we didn't get it.
But it was like we that's the way it should be. Like we're trying to get it right. You know, we did our best. It was difficult sometimes, but I think what's really good about this is that, you know, we don't know how long lockdown's going to go on for, really. Like how, as in, you know, when we're going to go back to normal filming. And you know, it's important that we know how to film stuff. And you know, I've got so much respect for sound, lighting, all of those people now. I think everyone else has that's done this. So.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely had the easier job on the other side, just being like, yeah, I'm gonna need a better shot than that. But like that, but like better. I literally signed up for a cinematography course after we finished this, because I was like, I don't have any of the language to use to communicate about shots and lighting in the same way as, I mean, it's different when you're talking to a DOP. You can just be like, oh yeah, I just want this, and they'll go, sure. So grab me that lens. I want those sticks. We're gonna need the dolly for this one. But like, without those things, you have to know more. And I definitely didn't know more than Elroy. Like, you were literally showing me how to use Filmic Pro. I was like, oh, cool, okay, great. I'm so glad I'm over on this side, not filming anyone, and then just saying no. But no, it was definitely a process. And yeah, definitely good learning curve.
When you and Sarah were writing that, were you including that in like your writing? So like I come from a theater background, so we call them stage directions, but like looking at different angles of shots, were you kind of thinking about that when you were writing it, or were you just more about the story and the shots would come later?
It was more about the story, but like, especially for the first scene, we wanted one, because it was always going to be just a conversation between these two. We just wanted them both to be active. So Mia's washing her vegetables, and also just something to fill the shot, like, giving her rubber gloves, and just, giving people things to do while they're delivering their lines, just makes it more natural as well. And gives more of a focus as well, especially because they're all talking to speakerphone. So if you don't have something to focus on, then it's a weird kind of no man's land. So we didn't really, we didn't think necessarily about shots, but I think once you sit down, they both gave me tours around their house of like where it could possibly be. Like carrying laptops. What about this? So yeah. But we had to change the toilet scene. We had it the other way around originally, but Mia's toilet's too small to film in, and she was like trying to send me these shots. She's like, "Is that going to work?" I'm like, "Are you holding the phone though? Is there room for a tripod?" She's like, "No, it's balancing." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not going to work."
And it was like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
This isn't working. Can we rewrite the scene? And poor Natalie had to like do a massive rewrite. No, it's really
it turns out Elle's toilet, lovely.
It's lovely.
Gorgeous. I'm jealous.
Great colour scheme.
So
The lighting as well.
Yeah, we've had a question in chat. This is from Nicola. For you, Natalie, would you consider developing one of the lockdown strands further, as in more episodes?
Yeah, definitely. I think we just it was only supposed to be a tiny little project. Eric told me it was my fault that it expanded on the last Q&A.
Yes,
I remember that.
It was 100%. It was.
I was pretty sure it was Eric's fault, but whatever. Like, we'll just agree to.
Well, that's my
disagree.
job. That's my job as an actor, to make you think that it was my fault.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, when we first started talking about it, it was only supposed to be like a few episodes, and we've got 13 in total now. So I don't know when we'd do more.
Well, you could have like the sort of reunion when the lockdown is completely, finished.
Yeah.
We actually talked about that. The thing, how would they meet? Because at some point we were saying maybe they actually live on the same street.
Yeah.
Anyway, just something.
But I think
Just put that out there. But I get what
just
you're
over there.
Nadia says we love them and we want more. So, but don't worry about that, Nadia. There is another strand next week, but we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, because it's actually related to the previous question? Because the two other stories, it's mainly between two characters every time. At least the dialogue is between two characters, but yours was at some point 3. So technically, how was that? Because I do remember Alex at some point being like, "What? Who am I supposed to act with?" So how was it for you two, Elle and Mia?
Did we do that one first? I feel like we did that one first. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So Yeah, so I think Elle and Alex got online first and were setting up their shots, and I think Mia was going to come later because her voice was off camera, and at one point we thought it would be funnier if it was just her voice and then we were on their faces and their reactions, but then actually there were some moments of the dialogue that worked better seeing Mia's reaction, like delivering them. So, but I was like, I don't think I can pay attention to 3 different cameras at the same time and be watching all of them and making sure all the shots are going to work. So we did as we got Mia's voice in that one, and then we did as outside the door separately, and actually you had to do it again on your own because of the light. Do you remember? You had to go away. You're like, I'll get it, so it's good enough. Don't worry.
And again, it's like you've got to be against the right door, and it's like a bit by our stairs, it's just totally dark. It's like a cube, tiny cube, and it's just me. I'm doing this over and over again, trying to get it right. And my poor neighbours thinking that because I'm, knocking on the door. we're literally having a door, which we're not, by the way. But yeah, it became quite difficult. But Natalie, so much patience, because to not see us and to be there would have been so frustrating, and it was frustrating for us actors as well. But I mean, you just kind of know it would be easier with Natalie in the room directing us properly, and and as she says, like sometimes she couldn't even see us, like she just saw an elbow and then got the footage and then went, okay, that's what it looks like.
But also, to be fair,
and then she became an alcoholic.
no, but to be fair, it was, I think after the first one I was like, we're gonna have to do less takes. But the first one that we did, we were like, I don't know, did we do like 16 takes of that? And like then we were like, okay, let's do a whole one of this take of just reactions, just in case we need to cut in, so like, and we have to cheat something. And then can I just get you did that the talk about getting a place at the table and all the kind of like the talk that she was supposed to interrupt. You and Alex went on and did that. You were talking about like, and then you started improvising it, and I was like, oh yeah, let's do that, and we might be able to use some of that as well. And at one point Alex was like, so I'm thinking more of a circle, and you were like, you were like, but where are the corners? And I was like, what is happening? I'm not going to use any of this. But like, you did still download it all. Like, you still uploaded it all for me, and I downloaded it all and rewatched it, and I did laugh.
You've got to do something with that. Honestly, you've got to edit it with some music, some music in the background.
There gotta be some sort of like outtakes or behind the scenes thing, and you can include that in that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, did I answer that question? I can't remember.
Nadia agrees with me. You should totally do outtakes. So.
Okay, it took long enough to cut everything together. I can't go through all the footage again and get the outtakes.
So maybe post lockdown, when we're no longer having to really worry about the current pandemic situation, it would be a great thing to like just have the outtakes then and be like, this is what we did during this was our lockdown.
Yeah. Madness.
The good and the crazy and the silliness of it. So I don't really have any other questions for lockdown and divorce.
I've got one for Natalie.
Okay.
I mean, it's not for any of the stories actually, in terms of editing, because most of the time when you edit, you do have the choice, between several shots, several angles at least. So because this time you prepared quite, I mean, for I remember with me anyway, we sort of said, okay, that section is going to be this shot, and it was pretty planned. Did you feel like hindered by that, or it was the only way to do it because of
well, but with everybody else, or all the other stories, we moved around their houses, so there was more variety.
Yeah, are you saying that my house is shit, basically?
You're
not saying that.
The bathroom, you idiot. Like we can't go around your house.
I
So
know.
because you only had the one location, we did actually do multiple shots, which is why also I only did one shot with Melissa outside, because you were basically changing your shot every every 6 lines or something. It was just, it was like, okay, let's do next setup. So I needed a kind of a constant on the other side of the door.
Right. Yeah.
And so we could be more intricate in your bathroom and kind of play around with the space a bit more. But yeah, with the other scenes, it was just easier to just move around. Especially because it was, you know, it's a short piece, or they were all short pieces, and comedy as well. And comedy, like, obviously the shots are important, but the most important thing is the performer and
the tempo
it being
and
funny
yeah.
and so yeah, as long as it looked kind of good enough, then
that was it.
capture the story. Yeah.
So Nicola in chat has said, much like the classic comedies, A Fine Romance, May to December, to The Manor Born, Just Good Friends, Lockdown, and Divorce has that natural sitcom or situation comedy formula where you can create absurd situations around 2 central characters where there is this push me, pull me kind of antagonism, if that's a word, between them. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think the interesting thing about this particular story strand, and we had quite a few conversations about this early on with Mia and Elle, about the likability of the characters. And Mia pulled me up on a couple of things, and I'd made the female character more annoying. And I I was like, yep, you're right. Okay, so we changed the dynamic. But still, when I showed people that first episode, like early on, people were like, she's a bit unreasonable, isn't she? I'm like, is she? Or is he basically telling her to make a cup of tea while she's trying to wash the vegetables that they're both eating? Actually, he's the one that's being unreasonable. And they were like, oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay. So basically, no matter what you do as a woman, people are always going to think that you're awkward.
I think it might have to do with Elle's energy as well, because
too likable.
Well, yeah,
too likable.
I remember. I don't know, Elle, if you remember the Christmas comedy that we did. You know, Santa is retiring.
Yeah, Santa's Grotto, right?
Yeah, and it was like, you know, so it was like vignettes of people being interviewed for the job of Santa. And Elle was that guru kind of, you know, character. And it's just, he was oozing empathy and niceness, and it was disgusting. And it's just, there's, you know, he's got that quality about him that so he can say whatever he wants in a film.
He's reasonable. Yeah.
It's really reasonable.
But that, yeah, I find quite funny the people's interpretation, because I do think we ended up with quite a balanced back and forth. Maybe, well, even with the toilet one, like, if there's one toilet in the house, why is he on his voice notes? But she still comes across as unreasonable. I'm like, she needs to pee. Like, get out. I don't know.
Was it men, Natalie, or was it women who were saying that she was the unreasonable one?
Women.
That thing. I mean, washing the vegetables to make me a cup of tea.
But this is
It might be you then, Natalie, because it sounds like it's very much your voice when you say it. You know,
maybe it is.
I'm just okay. I'm going to cut.
Okay,
my
moving
mic
on.
now.
It absolutely is.
Very
That's
wise.
the problem. I'm like, I'm not unreasonable.
Moving on, there is one thing that we haven't said. If you've been following any of the social media platforms, the Facebook, the Instagram, you will have seen the poster for the Lockdown and series. And a little birdie told me that Elle is the person that's actually behind that.
Yes. Did all our design work.
Did all the design work. How was, you know, first of all, it's really great work, and it kind of, I feel like it ties everything in together. Was there a lot of, did like Natalie come to you and say, I want this done? Or like, was that
I came to Elle and was
that
like,
come
this is
from
shit,
you?
can you make it better?
No,
And then he just did something completely different, which was wonderful. Elle?
no. I mean, I think like Nat did have some ideas of like certain color schemes that she wanted to use, and I think I had an idea of kind of like, I guess, showing the essence of these people in a kind of a lockdown environment that I kind of wanted the poster to show, in a sense, but then also have that background of possibly they could be in the same area, and it was basically a case of just working with Nat to a high degree in terms of like just formulating how it should look and how the text should be placed on the actual poster itself. But I think, as with most like artists anyway, or actors anyway, I like creating things. So this for me was another way of kind of releasing that creative energy through designing work. So, yeah.
As a social media person, it works really well for me to be able to use it on our platforms because visually it's eye-catching, and then when people are scrolling up, you want them to just like be like, hang on, what's this? And then read the caption, and then like the post and find out more about the whatever I'm trying to communicate with them. So and Nicola says the design work does look good and it's branded very well, so we should all give you a little round of applause, because it is a
Oh wait, I'll do
very
it.
fun thing to work with. Oh, yep, you figured out the reactions.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, and I think it's really you really have something going on with design, because you design as well the poster for my short, which is a horror film. So completely different, and you still found something very interesting. You even found like a tagline for the film without, and I didn't even, yeah, and it was great. I was, oh my God, that's just perfect. And the design is perfect, so for the film. So there's something, it's not just because it's comedy or a color scheme or anything, because mine is very dark, and it's just, you've got an eye for that. So thank you. So anybody who needs like a designer, call I'll take
I
the prints.
doing that. So we've had lockdown and dating, we've had lockdown and divorced. What's next for the lockdown and series, Natalie?
So Lockdown and Desperate starts on Monday with the first 2 eps, starring Melissa Collier and Eric Gaines, and Alex as well, but he's in 1 episode. Is he 1 episode? I think he is. He's in 1.
2 episodes. On the
Oh,
phone,
yes,
on the phone, and he's outdoors.
second and fourth. Yeah. So it's yes, just another it's a comedy about a woman or 2 people who misunderstand or have different ideas on the rules of the lockdown, basically. Very different ideas. Will that be accurate? So yeah, that was a Monday.
Can't wait to see this one. Because we've read all the scripts and not seen it completed yet, so
Yeah.
So Nicola asked if we will get to see the lockdown and Desperate all in one go, and the answer is no. We'll have another watch party next week on Thursday, like we had today, and we'll have another Q&A afterwards. But it's 4 episodes.
It is, yeah. So we're going to do the first 2 on Monday, the third one on Tuesday, and the 4th one on Wednesday, and then we'll do them back to back on the Thursday with a watch party with these guys talking more after you've seen it, because don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah.
So does any of the audience members, anyone have any other questions for the team? So I'm out.
That's fine. I think we've said quite enough. Unless
hello.
say something else.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
You can.
All right, hi, hello, my name's Nicola. I'm the one who's been asking loads of questions via chat. I just want to congratulate the Reframed group on a really good job done. I've been watching, like all the episodes and really enjoying it. And it actually made me laugh, which is quite good. That was a good surprise. But yeah, I really think, I really hope, Natalie, that you develop the strands a lot more. Because I was, especially like this week, watching the episodes, and I was like thinking, gosh, yeah, I could really like see this on, dare I say it, like Channel 4, something like that.
Tell them that, will you?
Sorry?
Tell them that.
Yeah, no, I think seriously, I really like the two characters, even though I think both of them are equally annoying.
Yes, exactly.
They're kind of like young, they're like young versions of like Victor Meldrew.
Yeah,
So,
I like
you know, I just wanted to see more. So I think, you know, these few episodes just aren't enough. So I really hope you kind of like develop it more, because I just want to see how they interact with other people as well, being so awkward with one another. I really want to see more of that. So yeah.
Wow.
Actually, we could say that BBC Radio has had a listen to some of the episodes, and they're interested in an audio version of it.
Wow.
So
Well done.
so we're waiting to confirm that, but they've already said, you know, we like it, so let's have a look if it can be like, you know, adapted to radio format.
Yeah.
Yeah, well
And
done.
also maybe now things have eased up with lockdown, we don't have to rely on you guys doing all your own camera work. We could maybe get somebody to come to your house and stay socially distant and film you. Yeah, Mia's like, thank God.
Actually, someone behind the camera, not having selfie all the time, having
Yeah.
to focus. Oh wow.
But also Nicola's just given me loads more work, so see, it's not me that does it, actually it is. I just agreed to it, and now I'm like, why don't we get a camera guy there? We could do that.
That's what I was saying.
This is how
You
it
say?
starts.
It's definitely time for a
the joy.
couple of Victor Meldrews now, isn't there? It's definitely room for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching and listening. And yeah, we'll have to talk, Eric. Mia.
Yeah. So what I'm taking from that is watch this space for that, but also, you know, if you've liked the Lockdown and series so far, we do have Lockdown and Desperate next week starting from Monday. I wouldn't be doing my job as social media manager if I didn't put a shout out to the socials. So we are Reframed Collective on Instagram, Reframed Collective on Facebook, and also Lockdown and web series on Facebook, so you can like both pages. And I think that's all the socials. And then there's Reframe Group on YouTube, which is where all of this wonderful footage will stay for posterity.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'm gonna regret it, but I will take over Instagram at some point this week.
Yes,
Okay, then.
he's very nervous.
I'm gonna
but
put some silly stuff, but I'll do
you
it.
can do some silly stuff. It'll be fun. It'll be great. I promise I won't yell at you too much. I'm not that type of social media manager. Yeah, so if we don't see you, have a great weekend. And hopefully we'll see you next week for our next watch party and Q&A.
A final one.
Fine.
Yeah.
No, don't say that.
But
We need more.
cool.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you for hosting.
Bye. So now we're going to do the awkward Zoom goodbye thing that everyone does.
You should send it for everyone. Send it for everyone.
Yeah, I'll do that. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.